It's interesting. Again, you're sort of raising the prospect that we're perhaps moving too slowly and not going to take advantage of all of these opportunities. I think we'll talk about that in a second. Well, we're all trying to predict the future, and people have to design the roads for the future. So how do you design roads 30 years into the future? That's what Mott MacDonald do. And here's Brian Gash from Mott MacDonald.
When I was invited to give this sort of presentation and look at that, I wanted just to indulge myself and look back at where we've come from as an industry and compare that against other technologies, how they've emerged over the period of time. So if you have a look back 1959, the M1 was opened up at that particular time. The miles travelled or kilometres travelled in that year was about 100 billion kilometres. There was about 6,000 deaths on that particular road, which is a sad sort of data that you need to look at. But if you wanted to listen to music at that particular time, you had to listen to it on a gramophone. If you wanted to phone a friend, it was something Bakelite that was probably bolted to the wall. If you move on 20 odd years, or 30, to 1986, you've got the M25. That was opened up by Margaret Thatcher in that particular time. There was about 300 billion kilometres. So there's a threefold in traffic on the particular roads. Still, there was 500,000 deaths in that particular era, on that particular year. Then I started in the industry, 1987. We just first engaged in looking at CAD. We still printed off onto linen. We had someone that would colour wash land interest plans that would be sent up to the Secretary of State, put in a vault somewhere. So that's what was that current data, that current technology was working for. If you wanted to listen to music, you could listen to it on a Walkman, or if you wanted to phone a friend, it was probably a brick-sized mobile phone that you had to lump around with you. If you move on to 2006, M42, the first managed motorway, that's where technology was really starting to engage with the highways, I would have said. Equally, it was 500 billion miles travelled in that particular year, so there's a step change, fivefold since 1959. You had 3,000 deaths on that particular, in that particular year. If you wanted to listen to your music, you could look at your iPhone, your iPad. There was about 1 billion downloads from that particular period. So you've got all this technology that's left field coming off to the side. Therefore, we come to today. You look at the really big investment in technology that's happening in our road structure. You've got smart motorway program, you've got the expressways, all that technology is coming out there. You've got BIM, and equally, if you have a look at, if you want to listen to music, you've got multi-different formats. You can then, if you want to phone somebody, you could Skype, Snapchat, all those various different elements there. So the technology, for me, is really emerging and what we've got to look forward. So if you're trying to look at the future, we've got to look at left field, I would say. We've got to look to our left and right to see how some of those other industries are going to be affecting our particular business. If we just look within ourselves to look forward, then we're going to be left sort of standing. So we've really got to step up and look to the side sometimes.
We'll get the